Hey friend, in today's YouTube video, we will be learning how to paint a rose flowers using 3 basic steps that I personally use for my painting. I'll show you how to paint a rose flowers using negative painting technique, wet and wet technique, and also how to achieve beautiful results like of mine. This is a step-by-step tutorial which I am sure you will love. You can find the list of art supplies down in the description, and let's get into the video right now. Whenever I'm painting anything, I mostly finish my painting in 3 layers. The first one, in this flower case or most of the flower case, I go with overall structure of the flower. For that, you have to check out this video, and I have explained and talked a lot about overall structure of the flower. And second layer is doing the mapping in wet and wet layer. The third layer is always the detailing, which is done when the paper has dried. For even painting this flower, I'm going to follow 3 steps, which is going to be the overall structure of the flower. For that, I'm going to take a little bit of orange color. I'm also going to take a little bit of PV19 so that I can just have a little bit of pink tone in this flower, a little bit more of the pink color. So I just painted the overall structure of the flower. I was switching back and forth from pink to orange, and I'm also going to drop a little bit of pink. I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson and going to drop to the areas where I feel that color is a little bit more darker, which is basically this area, this area, this area. So I'm going to drop the darker color alizarin crimson right onto these areas. The paper is still wet and I'm using wet and wet technique. And now I am going to take a little bit of orange color. I'm going to mix it with the pink or alizarin crimson that is already onto my palette, which gives me a little bit of more darker color than orange that I already have in my palette. And I'm just going to start mapping out the petals. For painting the petals, you have to do negative painting. So basically, you have to paint around the petal to represent the petal. You don't have to paint the petal. So I'm going to start with painting these outer 2 petals. I'm going to explain you how. So I'm going to start painting with this petal first, and this petal is this one, right? And I have to represent this petal. So what I will be doing, I will be painting around the petal. So I will start with painting around the petal. I'm going to start from here. I'm going to end almost till here. Let me just check once. Yes. So can you see the stroke that I'm having? I started from here, ended here, started from here, ended here. I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson, darken up the color so you can see it properly, just like this. So we painted around the petal. And now I have to represent this turnover, which is this one. So I'm going to paint around that turnover. I'm going to start from here. Alizarin crimson. And I'm also gonna just differentiate this petal from that one. So can you see we have almost copied this structure, and we are gonna repeat the same thing in this one. So we are gonna represent this petal. So we are gonna paint around this petal. So we have to represent this stroke, which is starting from here, ending from here. So it's basically starting from here, ending almost till here. I have put a dot, almost a straight line, like this. I'm going to take more alizarin crimson. I'm going to paint a little bit more darker so that it's more visible on the camera. And I'm just going to paint the turnover. Again, for that I'm doing the negative painting. For the darker tones, I'll put some dark color right here. I'll clean the brush, remove all the color, and I'll just smoothen it up. I can take a little bit of alizarin crimson and I can just paint right onto the tip to make it extremely dark. Now these 2 petals, which is this one and this one, we are going to use this as a reference for the next petal that we are going to use. So we are done with this petal. Now we are going to paint this petal, which is the petal number 3, and I'm going to start painting this petal, which is this one, almost diagonal. So the petal stroke will be this. and this will be the darker area, and even here this will be the darker area. I'm gonna give that nice curve just like this, and I'm gonna paint this diagonal petal. I'm also gonna take a little bit of alizarin crimson and represent this turnover. So here, this side will be more darker. So once we have mapped out petal number 1, petal number 2, petal number 3, this will be our petal number 4, because if we haven't mapped out this petal, we cannot map out this petal. So before going to this petal, we have to map out or paint this petal, which I'm gonna do just right now. And I'm just gonna start with painting the petal right like this. I'm gonna pick more color. So what I did, I darken up and painted in this direction, and I'm gonna darken up and painting it in this direction now. Even if you are getting hard edges just like this, it's completely okay. You don't have to worry about it because later on it will be very less visible. Also, when you're painting very fast and you're aware of where you have to put all the strokes, you won't get hard edges like this because you will be able to paint this layer while the paper is already wet. And now it is gonna be this petal. So for painting this petal, I have already determined this side of this petal. Using this petal, I have mapped out this side of this petal using this petal. Now I only have to represent this petal in negative painting, and I'm gonna paint around the petal to represent it. I'm gonna start from here, and then there is almost a very wobbly thing. Just gonna darken it up a little bit of turnover at this side. I can move on to this structure, which is right over here, which is the most center part of the flower. Paint a little bridge like this. And there I will be having a cluster of strokes. This area won't be that detailed, and it's okay if you're leaving it just like that. I'm gonna represent it on a rough piece of paper. So the center part was, I basically did this. I had this stroke, basically this stroke and this stroke, right? And then I'm gonna take more color, and I just painted random C strokes, and this will be the basically the center area of the rose flower. And now I can represent this petal, which is this one. I can represent this petal, which is right on the top. I'm also gonna smoothen it up a little bit right here. A little bit of smoothing up right here because I don't want harsh, hard edges. And I'm also gonna darken it up right here. I'm also gonna darken it up almost right here because it was looking a little boring. So once I have mapped out all these strokes in wet and wet technique, it was supposed to be a wet and wet technique, but we were painting very slow, and I was also explaining that is the reason the paper dried while I was painting. So I will now let it dry, and once the paper has dried, I will move on to other steps. Let the paper dry, and the third step is the detailing one. So we have already done 80% of the work, and we just have to do the detailing. For that, I'm going to use the most darkest color that you can find in this composition. So I'm also going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson, orange. I kind of contaminated the orange color, which is not good, but it's fine. And I can find a little darker shade which is working for me. And now I'm just gonna paint at the areas where I can find the composition to be the darkest. Can you see in the reference picture, this area is little dark. This area is little dark. This area is little dark. This, a little bit of this, a little bit of this maybe, a little bit of this. So I will be just defining all these areas, It's not that complicated. We just have to put one or two stroke, but very mindfully and very carefully. Take more color. Is gonna paint. Gonna paint one of this V stroke right over here. Take more of the color. I'll take more saturated alizarin crimson mixed with orange color. Defining this petal right over here. This petal right over here. I'll take very saturated, just alizarin crimson, mixing it in the palette, and I'm just gonna paint few strokes just like in the center because this is the most darkest part of the flower. I'll just have one stroke right over here, one stroke right over here. I just love to have these strokes at the edge of the flower. And we are done with the flower. I don't do anything more than this, only these three layers. But also when I am painting a bunch of flowers, the detailing is little bit less because I don't want to overcomplicate my composition. 8 number round brush is a magical brush. And I'm gonna take sap green color and I'm gonna paint the sepal part of this flower. So friends, this is how I paint a rose flower. I hope you had fun painting this rose flower with me. If you practice it 2 to 3 times with intention and care, I promise you will be able to paint it very nicely. It might feel tricky initially, but once you get hang of it, you will love this technique so much. I can't wait to see your artwork. Make sure to tag me on the social media, Karan Sira, if you give it a try. Thank you for painting along. See you guys in the next YouTube video. Love you guys.